Something shady is going on, and this can affect Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin, the whole crypto industry from now to the next 1 year or even more. And the reason is because the biggest fund, GBTC, so Grayscale, it is in danger. And in this video, we'll explain exactly what is happening and why you should pay attention to this story. And don't bother if right now you don't know what is GBTC, if Grayscale is something new, or if you are not updated with the different news, because in this video, we'll explain to you everything and how and why this is something that could be dangerous. So stay tuned. Let me say, guys, that this channel is about educational content and nothing has to be intended as financial advice. If you want to invest in anything, that's great, but always your research before. And guys, don't forget also to check our links into the description below, where you can find also our weekly newsletter. I will leave you also the link. It is completely free in the right corner here, so feel free to check it out. And if you want to help us, don't forget also to leave us a big thumbs up and drop a comment in the comment section below. That's the best way to help us with the YouTube algorithm. Okay, guys, let's start immediately. So, first of all, the reason why there is so much noise around Grayscale is because they have just said, guys, we can't disclose anything about the proof of reserves. As you probably know, right now after the scandal of FTX, if you want to know more about FTX, I will leave also my video into the right corner here. FTX failed, and other exchanges started to say, okay, guys, these are the proofs that we have your cryptos. Obviously, in my opinion, that's not enough, because we will also need to know how much really people has deposited inside the exchange, but it's something that hopefully will come in the next future. The point about Grayscale is simply that they said, no guys, we will not disclose anything. But let's do a step back in order to introduce you what is Grayscale and why it is so important. I don't know if you're aware, but many company institutions that want to have exposure to the crypto market, they didn't have any kind of tool because they are forbidden to invest in crypto assets. So the reason why Grayscale came out was just to satisfy this need. So they said, we are a completely regulated company. We are selling a security that is backed by an underlying asset that is Bitcoin. So they created this product that is called GBTC that should track the price of Bitcoin. The reality is that it works slightly different. What does it mean? It means that you can deposit BTC or USD and receive in exchange a share of the fund. The shares are like GBTC. GBTC is just the tag that is representing the shares. And $1 of GBTC should represent $1,000 of Bitcoin. The point is that there are two main differences from GBTC and BTC. First of all, you can't redeem GBTC for BTC directly. That's something that is not possible. Second, there is a lockup period, so it means that in the moment when you have minted this GBTC, you have to wait for 6 months before having the opportunity to unlock your GBTC and sell them. Attention, because you can't sell them in the primary market, but only in the secondary market. So it is like a market where different institutions, whales, or whoever want to have exposure to Bitcoin, but they can't buy Bitcoin directly from the market. They can buy from other people, other institutions that are selling GBTC. So the reason why GBTC is useful is to give access to the crypto market to companies, institutions that otherwise they will not have the opportunity to access it. What is the point? The point is that the price of GBTC is not always tracking the real price of BTC. As you can check it from CoinGlass, as you can see from the first line here, this line here, BTC right now is holdings per share, so what is the real value of the underlying asset, supposedly that they are having it, and what is the actual market price. So it means that right now the premium, so the difference between BTC and GBTC, is with a discounted of 45%. So it's like imagine that instead of buying at 16K, you are buying something around 8K. So there is a big difference between these two prices. Why? For the simple reason that right now institutions don't want to have that kind of exposure, so they are selling instead of buying. If you're wondering, but so you are suggesting me that in this moment buying GBTC, it could be a big deal because you are buying it at a discount and in the future it will have the same price of BTC? The answer is yes and no, because for sure the shortcut, the best way out would be simply that the ETF that Grayscale is going behind since the last couple of years, but I have always been refused, rejected. If it's something that is happening, yes, in that case, the price of GBTC will converge again to the price of BTC. Or maybe that's something that can happen again, maybe in the next bull run, in the moment when there will be again more demand. The point is that anything can happen in the next future, including what's going on right now. Because there is another step that you should be aware. GBTC and Grayscale are part of the same company that has inside also Genesis. I don't know if you noticed, but something is happening with Genesis, and I'm referring exactly to this thread here. Genesis is one of the main mining market when it comes to crypto, but I have just said that they have stopped their products, the opportunity to open new loans, not to mention the opportunity to redeem the crypto. Why? Because it looks like they don't have enough liquidity. Why? For two main reasons. First of all, they were really so exposed to 3 Arrows Capital. That is a company that, as you can see from here, just failed this July, and they were having something like debt for 3.5 billion. So the kind of exposure they left into the market were quite high. Not to mention that Genesis had also exposure to FTX. In a moment, we will also go back to the story of 3 Arrows Capital, because as I will show you, there is something that is even more shady, because there were some kind of relationship, or at least this is what it looks like, between 3 Arrows Capital and Genesis and Grayscale that made a couple of moves just to make money, but at the end finished up in a really bad way. And I will tell you just in a moment. Before going on, I want to make it clear. So we have a company that is called DCG that has inside Genesis and Grayscale. Grayscale is the issuer of GBTC, and Genesis is a money market, a money lender. Genesis simply were hit badly by 3 Arrows Capital and FTX, and they have to stop their operation and the ability to redeem funds. Genesis and this kind of action is affecting many players like Gemini and so on. Right now, Genesis is trying to raise funds for around 1 billion. Why? Because they are needing this liquidity to keep going on with their operation. The point is that if they will not be able to raise this money, the possibility is that also Grayscale should start selling, because if Genesis fails, and due to the interconnection between Genesis and Grayscale, the risk, I'm just saying the risk, the possibility, I'm not saying that it will happen, but I want to be you ready for any kind of scenario, because this market condition is so unpredictable. So if something is happening to Genesis, it can affect also Grayscale, and the risk is that if something happens to Grayscale, they could be forced to sell all the Bitcoins. And just to give you an idea, right now, they are holding something like this $10 billion of Bitcoin. So quite a lot of money. Will it happen or not? That's something that we'll understand in the next couple of weeks, but just be ready for any kind of scenario. And if it is happening, with any probability, we can see a situation where people are longing GBTC and shorting BTC, because obviously in the moment when the Grayscale, if in the case will be liquidated, what will happen is that all the resources will be sold, including the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin in that moment will be released, and what we will see is probably the price of GBTC going higher and the price of BTC going down, just to have that kind of convergence. Going on, what is the relationship between Grayscale, Genesis, and 3 Arrows Capital, and why it matters so much? Just the other day, Data Fin Innovation just took out this incredible analysis that is quite basic if you think, because all they have done is just analyzing the ECC files, because DCG, Grayscale, Genesis are all regulated players, so all the different kind of moves that they are doing should be transparent. And on the other side, also because Three Arrows Capital just filed for Chapter 11, so there are hundreds, thousands of different pages analyzing what happened to Three Arrows Capital. And what is the kind of situation that is emerging is that we had a situation when Three Arrows Capital was depositing it as a collateral to Genesis, some asset, in order to receive in exchange a loan that would be used to mint GBTC. Due to the fact that GBTC for a long time was traded at a premium, just to show you the chart, as you can see, this is the chart of GBTC. If we try just to put on top of that the price of Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin is the light blue. As you can see, for example, here in 2019, it was with a premium. Every time when you see the light blue that is below the price of GBTC, that is just candles, it means that the price of GBTC, it is a premium price. And as you can see, for a long time, it was at a premium. The situation changed starting from February, March of 21, when the price of GBTC started to go below. And as you can see right now, from that moment, and even now that is even worse, the price of GBTC is much lower than the price of BTC. But as long as it was a premium price, what was possible to do was minting this GBTC, putting them again to Genesis, asking for a loan, and using this loan or to repeat the loop, so you can reuse them in order to mint other GBTC and using them to receive another loan and so on. Or they took this USDC that were collateralized by GBTC just to invest in other stuff. And do you know what was the other stuff? Well, it was with any probability also UST. So it is still connected to the big crash of Terra Luna. And about Terra Luna is another quite interesting thing to notice is that Genesis had quite a big exposure to Luna. As you can see from this image, the Luna Foundation Guard closed the deal, an OTC deal, to swap 1.5 billion of USD for BTC. So Genesis was giving BTC and receiving exchange USD. As you know, USD right now has a value of around 0. So that was a quite big exposure. So the whole point about the relationship between Grayscale, Genesis, and Three Arrows Capital is that Three Arrows Capital was using Grayscale and Genesis just to make money, to over leverage its own position using the premium in order to make money for free. Because at the end of the story, if you're able to create GBTC at the actual price and after selling it into the secondary market for a premium price, it's like free money. On the other side, it was a great opportunity also for Genesis that was doing a lot of money just through fees, and the same was for GBTC that was increasing its own relevance. The point is that in the moment when this changed and the price of GBTC fell down below the price of BTC, in that moment, all of these loans that were collateralized by GBTC were at risk of liquidation for the simple reason that the price of GBTC were lower and the exposure were still the same. And that situation was even worse because at that time the price of Bitcoin was quite high, because as you can see from the chart, we are talking about March of 21, and until May around 22, the price of Bitcoin were still really high and much higher than what it was just at the beginning of 2021. So that's the reason why the exposure was so insane, and the reason why at the end also Three Arrows Capital failed. The point is that the relationship between Three Arrows Capital, DCG, and so Genesis and Grayscale, it has been still to be understood. Here is a full article that is full of details and different kind of allegation about this story. I will leave also this link into the description below, so feel free to check it because the story is literally insane. It is showing us how these players that should be supposed to act in a way that is positive for the whole industry were simply over leveraged and was trying to take the maximum out from this situation. The point is that in a market that is so volatile, something like that can work in the short term. But in a moment when the market simply crashes for any kind of reason, or for the simple reason that someone else is aware that you are over leveraged and you have a lot of money, and they know if they are crushing someone that is so big with so much money, well, the whole market will crash. And if you are shorting, if you are moving correctly into this market, you can make literally a ton of money. So that's the situation. As you can see, there are different players that are involved. The kind of a final result is still unclear because maybe at the end of the story, Grayscale is perfectly fine, Genesis will find its own 1 billion deal, and maybe Grayscale is not for real disclosing anything just because the Coinbase, because Grayscale is using Coinbase as a custodian. Coinbase is not allowing companies and clients to disclose their wallets. That's a possibility. That's something that in any case should put you on alert, just to say, guys, pay attention. Right now is not the moment to say it's discounted or not. It's just a moment to literally manage well your portfolio, because that's the moment when you can lose a lot of money. Yes, you can even do money, but it's much more important to stay safe and be ready for the next bull run that will come. But if you lose everything right now, you will not have any space to earn more in the next future. Guys, let me know what you think about this story. Let me know if you know anything else about the different players, Grayscale, Genesis, Free Arrows Capital, and so on. Let me know it in the comment section below. Stay safe, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye, guys.